Okay, Charlie. Now you told me that cricket was your first love, and you also told me, actually, my card marker told me as well, that you've got a very good story about catching a particularly famous cricketer out. You know, elaborate on that.
Yeah. When I was in my youth, Lancashire were playing Sussex, and what they did Saturday, first of a 3-day county championship game. Sunday John Player League game. Monday, Tuesday, and Lancashire second team. I wasn't involved, of course. I wasn't on the staff or anything. And on the Sunday, Stephen O'Shaughnessy, who famously hit 6 sixes and an over in a county championship game and is now a first-class umpire, Shawnee was told to go and play for the second team because he needed the practice, and he was 12th man. So on the Sunday they said, you know, and I was more, I think it's fair to say, more the social secretary when Lancashire came to Liverpool. But I knew all the players and everything. And they say, yeah. And of course they knew I played under 16s, under 18s, under 25s. But yeah, Charlie can do it for 2 days. Well, we got there and it was a really grey, miserable day at Old Trafford. They're playing Sussex. And Lancashire had, Sussex had got, not a great deal, maybe 280 on the Saturday. And they put Lancashire in, I think declared rather than bowled out. And Lancashire were 3 for 1. And the wicketkeeper was Chris Scott, and he'd gone in as night watchman. So in those days, you had to get dressed downstairs, the uncapped players, with the 2 umpires. One of them was the famous umpire, Bill Alley. And we went downstairs, and got changed. So there's myself, Ian Cobain, who really was the sort of catalyst for why I was there. Graham Fowler, Paul Allett, John Abrams, I think. And you'd have to go upstairs. In those days, you were supposed to knock at the door of the capped players. So I went in, and the next thing you know, I could see outside some of the batsmen, including a very famous Lancashire batsman, and they were praying for rain. Odin! And I couldn't understand what was going on. Odin! What was going on? And they were petrified of Imran and Garth LaRue on that wicket in Old Trafford, and Jesus, they were like, oh no. So of course my 12-man duties, Lancashire were batting, was to clean the fridge. So that was what I was told to do first. So I'm down on all fours, cleaning the fridge, and there's no mobile phones, of course, in those days. And Jack Simmons is on the phone organising his benefit constantly, and so I'm there, and Jack's there, only in a jockstrap as well, I must add, and so I'm down on all fours. I'm like, God almighty, what is going on? And the next thing you know, Imran did hit Chris Scott's thumb, broke his thumb. He was carted off, went to hospital. Lancashire did avoid the follow-on, so he went out to bat. So we went out to field, rather, Sussex. When Imran came in to look at the well-being, Chris Scott had been to and from the hospital, and he came to the dressing room door, Imran. How are you, Scotty? And he just asked, you know, how are you, Scotty? And of course all the batsmen were saying, oh, isn't that really kind of you? Thank you, Mr. Imran, for... And Willie Hogg was one of our opening bowlers. He said, hey you, go on, beat it. Hey you, beat it. And he suggested to him that he'd give him a few bounces when he went out to bat. So anyway, for the second innings, Sussex second. Anyway, Geir Mendes was out, caught and bowled. First ball. I think Nick Malone was the overseas player. It's all a bit. And Imran came in and he had a white helmet on, and I was fielding at mid-off, and everyone was bouncing it. They just decided he's going to bounce us. Him and Garth are going to bounce us anyway. So he's bouncing in anyway. I was down at fine leg, and he bounced, and he made a big top edge, and I was thinking, oh my God, it's going right down my throat. And he went about 6 rows back for 6. Next over, bang, hits it straight up in the air, straight to mid-off, where of course I was in for the next over. And I can remember to this day, I can see him with his white helmet walking off towards the pavilion, because of course he did it. It's basically catch that. But of course, if I drop it, I might be able to run him out. So, but of course, anyway, I did catch it, and that night as well, I always remember the game was sponsored by ATS Tyres. They were quite a big, they'd sponsored ATS Giants, Manchester basketball team as well. And the ATS girls were at the top of the stairs. And we, say myself, Cobain, Alec, Val, walked up, and of course we thought, well, you know, I can imagine I did that. I thought, God, these girls, to say they looked down on us. And then of course they were waiting for Garth and Imran. And of course their mood changed when they, you know, beautiful looking men arrived. But were we pleased when Imran and Garth, the Sussex bus by this time, coach had gone off back to the hotel, leaving Garth LaRue and Imran, and these two air stewardesses came in, leaving these two ATS girls. We gave them a right volley as well. But that is my, you know, and I played in Barry Wood's testimonial game as well at Park Gate at Neston, and I let the ball through my legs for Neston to beat Lancashire on that occasion. Although I was a batsman more than a bowler, although I got 2 wickets in the first over, my first over. And I went down and play had to be stopped because there was about 1,500 people on the ground, and all these kids came, thought I was famous. They had no idea, of course, you know, and I think, you know, in the programme might have been Mick Malone or somebody like that. So I was signing these autographs for about 30 seconds, and I was signing Mick Malone, I was, you know, Michael Holding, you know, I always remember that as well, and I was a bit disrespectful, but I was just, who the hell was interested in somebody, although they had caught,
checking them now, weren't they?
They had, yes, I don't think, yeah, quite.
But you've made, this is what I've been told, you've made good profit punting on cricket over the years. So how have you managed that? I mean, was playing an insight? I mean, how different is it picking a winner at the cricket than it is trying to pick a winner of a horse race?
For the ground in horse racing, read the pitch in cricket, and it's, I think, arguably the most significant thing. I mean, my wife, my poor wife, if she were here now, I must be one of the only people in the solar system who's interested in the women's ODI. I think it's been absolutely fantastic. And I still think England have got a chance of winning it. They lost the first 3. I think they're going to win the next 4. I'm more a cricket fan these days than a cricket punter, but I do feel that you can almost, I think if you can feel the batsman's under pressure, something's got to give, something's got to, especially in one day.
So you're betting running then? Is that be the game?
Yes. Oh yes, yeah, betting in running. Again, something sort of recreational, and I would again have, I'm afraid to say these days, too many small recreational, because I know I'm going to watch it for the next couple of hours and things like that. But cricket is my first love. Cricket and Everton are my first loves, and I've been fortunate enough because of my, you know, I'm as a sports person, you know, I was, you know, a good cricketer, a good basketball player, a good footballer, not very good at any of those 3, but injury sort of, you know, and I'm afraid I'm chronically arthritic, and I know it sounds crackers, I'm on my 4th left knee, 2nd right knee, 2nd right hip, and 3rd left hip, and I'm awaiting a 4th left, so a 3rd total knee replacement.
So how young a man were you when you're you know, obviously something you loved was taken away?
I was in my, when I was at university, I was basically told that I was a hypochondriac, and he said the pain you are describing is not what it's on these X-rays. So fine. I carried on. But always remember, we will have Sunday mornings. Asda shopping was hell. Asda equals hell. Football Sunday afternoons, when I was sort of single, I would be on the couch, and of course, sorry Simon, this is before remote controls. I found it easier to roll off the couch, roll and turn the channels over, and roll. I couldn't get back up because the pain was throughout my sort of body. But nobody told me I was completely knackered until I went in one day, and I always remember the first time I went into hospital again. I was sort of late 20s, and I went in and X-rays on some knees, and a nurse came in, looked at it, and I said, "Oh, I've left my," can't remember if it was the Racing Post, the Sporting Life. "I've left it in the cubicle." So I got up to her. "Oh, I'll get it," she said. I said, "Pardon?" I said, "I'll go it. I can get it." So I thought that was strange. Anyway, the next thing you know, the consultant, Mr. Calver, came in and went. Next thing you know, about 10 people huddled into, and of course he was having a discussion with them about blah, 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 what was wrong with me. And then he turned around to his second in and he said, will you tell him or shall I? And he said, "Will you tell him, please?" And he just turned around to me and he said, "What have you been doing?" And it was almost a relief. It was almost, I know it sounds crazy, but this pain I was sort of getting. And then of course I hadn't put part of my left upper tibia sawn out, put a cheese like in it, almost like a wedge, it broke my legs, sick, and that gave me about 6 or 7 years before I had my first knee replacement, and since then, since 2015, I've had 7 operations.
Is that a part of the reason for moving to warmer climate?
Absolutely. And please, Sam, that sounds incredibly clever. I was working for Bet Direct by this time. Bet Direct was sold by Ed Ware and 32 Red, and I was offered the opportunity to come out here. My parents had both died. My wife's parents had recently passed. My son had just finished his GCSEs, and my wife and my daughter just was going from junior school to secondary school. So it was an opportunity which we couldn't have had, say, 12 months earlier, probably 12 months later. Took it 15 years on, here we are. But yes, that was a sort of an underlying factor.
Okay, now you mentioned that you're a fervent Evertonian, so do I assume that you don't win punting on football? Sorry.
Well, I'm whispering. I backed Liverpool to win the 4. I backed Everton to be relegated. I know you shouldn't do it, but I have, because I get Everton won the first 3 games of the season, and I told everyone that Everton would finish in the bottom half. I didn't think even Benitez could get us relegated. That Everton would finish in the Arsenal would finish in the top 6, not the top 4, and they were my bet. Anyway, Arsenal lost the first 3. Everton won the first 3. Oh God, the abuse. But in the famous song, "You're Not Singing Anymore."
But you are a tipster, aren't you? So you do have a bit of responsibility for when people, when they follow you.
Oh no, I don't really tip on football. No, that ship sailed. Oh yes, I used to, and I did pieces. Recently I did a piece with Kevin Campbell. I used to do things. Rob McCaffrey, a great friend of mine, and John Richardson from the Sunday Mirror. We had a couple of seasons, of blogs, and they were fabulous. I used to really look forward to. I think Kevin Campbell was a bit, this was well before Christmas, that I was really concerned for Everton. I really was. I still am. I know if we survive this year, I think we can upturn. When you think of the people we can get off our wage bill. But we've sport appallingly badly, absolutely appallingly. And great to me when people like Sam Allardyce go on in the media and says that and of course he's quite right, and he got Everton from, what was it, 15th or 16th, but Kurt Zuma's cat could have got Everton to safety that year. Okay, he got them to 8th. But he did buy Theo Walcott and Cenk Tosun for £50 million on inflated wages, and we've got nothing in return for them. So let's say that's about £100 million he squandered. We've squandered some extraordinary. It's. I didn't think there was anything wrong with Benitez. What am I saying? With Roberto Martinez, I would also have given Silva more time. And I remember, I've ghostwritten a few football columns for people who know a bit more than. About the game, and he was saying that somebody who's played for Manchester United, you can probably work it out, Manchester United, Watford, and indeed Everton, said that Marco Silva is the best coach he's ever played under, and that all includes anyone at Old Trafford by a long way.